In this slidecast we're going to look at the mid-semester test. So what I've got here is the exemplar, that is the person that did best. I will put a copy of this on Moodle so you can go through and have a look at the hard copy version. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to talk through the questions, what people did well, what people didn't do well, what this person did really well, and maybe what they didn't do very well. But 55.5 out of 60, that was a good 6 marks above the next one, so this student did really quite well. Question 1 was engineering project management includes planning, execution and controlling processes. Describe each process and identify a management activity. So you can see there's two parts here. Describe each process, so I expected you to describe them, what planning is, what execution is, what controlling is, and also identify a management activity for each. So there's 1 mark for the definition and 1 mark for the example. So that's, by the way, these ticks here are half marks. And they are just my calculations. So you might have a whole lot of ticks on there, and if you count them up you find that you should get a mark different. It's my calculation. I have a look at all the ticks and then I make a call on the mark. So the number of ticks is generally half a mark, but sometimes I'll go up, sometimes I'll go down. So it's just my way of determining what sort of order of magnitude the mark should be, but it's not bang on accurate. So I actually gave you the 3 activities I wanted you to look at: planning, execution and controlling. Some people just went off and told me about the project life cycle, inception, feasibility, design, all that sort of stuff. I wasn't asking for that. And I think what happened was you all looked at last year's one and thought, oh, the first question's all about this. I never repeat the questions in the next year. So just memorizing last year's test paper probably didn't help you at all. The idea of me giving you last year's test paper was for you to see how those questions were answered. So planning, I was looking for planning is more than just planning the works. Okay, it's determining the project objectives, so just got a tick for that one, and suitable methodology, that would get you another tick. Also the required resources, so this student went a little bit further than what was required to get the 1 mark. The management action, determining whether it will meet the project objectives. Just giving me a few there, so I could pick one and give 4 marks for it. Execution is organizing and directing together. Some people talked about organizing and then directing, and that sort of is a very cumbersome way of presenting your answer. Once again, checking the materials ordered were delivered and are up to specification. So that's a really good management action. So when I was talking about management actions or activities, I was talking about what are you actually going to be doing on site as part of this process. Oops. So looking at question 2, I've given you a situation. This pipeline, extending that pipeline and widening the footpath. We actually went out on site and had a look at this. Remember, we all went there and talked about how we were going to widen the footpath and all that sort of stuff as part of, we did it a few weeks ago. So what I was looking for here for the first one is the 4 project objectives, and this was a bit of a give me. But what a lot of people did was they just went time, cost, quality, safety. Okay, now that would get you half marks. That would get you 1 mark out of 2. It's identify and describe. So this person here, completing the works on time, described it, okay, and identified it all in one go. Completing the project works on budget, once again described it and everything. So that's what got full marks for that. As I said, time, budget, quality, that didn't get you full marks. Once again, I'm looking for you to show you know what you're talking about, not that you can repeat what was said in class. And a lot of students seem to struggle with that idea. In this course, at this level, this is a level 6 course, you are expected to be thinking for yourself. So the stuff we give you is just the beginning of what you should know. What we're looking for is that you're starting to think about what you're given as well. And this one was done really well. Most people got full marks for it. The next one was a little bit less well done. I think the average mark there was 5 out of 8. I was looking for you to talk about the risks. And when you're stating a risk, you don't just say bad weather, because bad weather doesn't really tell you what the risk is. It just says there's going to be bad weather. How is that going to affect the works? You need to say bad weather delays works and resulting in a time overrun or something like that. So you need to be a bit more specific than just saying bad weather. That's an event. You need to tell me what the actual problem is. What is the thing that is actually going to stop you from doing it? So this student did quite well on this one, completing it on time, so that was the objective, and the risk was late delivery of materials. And the way that they were going to deal with it were they were going to order the materials early and have a backup supplier. So that is a really good answer to the issue of completing it on time. Likewise with the completing it on budget, the risk of natural disasters, that was sort of pushing it a bit, but I gave good marks for it because it was well presented. And maintain a professional indemnity insurance for the period of the works. And so on. Completing the work with minimal nuisance, the risk was that the plant and equipment emit the sound above the level the government has consented for. And once again, the student talked about how they were going to reduce the level of the noise. So all I was looking for was a risk that was properly stated and a solution that was properly stated and was actually going to address the risk. So you can see that it took a bit of work to do that. The last one was one decision you need to make is hire subcontractors. Once again, the two answers I was really looking for were, if I can find them, to provide specialist skills, to provide additional resources. I think other students sort of come out with some other ideas. Ease the workload, all those sort of things. So that was once again sort of pretty well done, I think. But I was looking for identify and describe. So once again, just a one-liner saying specialist skills. So what? To provide specialist skills that the contractor might not have, that would be a full mark. So once again, when we say identify and describe, we're looking for more than just one-liners. Number 3, consultant designs a car park for the Unitec. How does the consultant know whether his design is high quality? And I wish I'd put more marks on this, because this is really the guts of what you guys should be learning. It is, do you know what quality is? And a lot of students just said fit for purpose. Now that got you 1 mark, and really I should have marked you down a bit more for that. Yes, fit for purpose is the correct answer. It fits the purpose, he knows it is high quality. And then this student has gone on and described what it means. Can achieve the project objectives. That was what I was looking for. Fit for purpose means it does what it's supposed to do. Something along those lines. Fit for purpose would only get you 1 mark. 1 mark. But really needed a description for you to show me once again that you know what fit for purpose is. As I said, we're not looking for you to be able to regurgitate what you do in class. We're looking for you to think for yourself. The next one, 3B, was generally well done. It was basically just regurgitating what you did in class. So that was pretty easy. That was just a bit of a give me. Some students sort of got these tender types wrong, and you got marked down for that. You should know what they are. C was to identify which tender type you should recommend. The selective tender method was the one I was looking for. Open tender, I marked you down, but I would have given you some marks for good reasoning as well. So I'm looking for the reasons as well. Even if you get the answer wrong, I'm still giving you marks for good reasoning, for good thinking, because that's what I'm looking for, good thinking, not necessarily getting it right all the time. Once again, the student sort of lost a bit because this one here wasn't all that accurate, wasn't all that that didn't really cover the point I was looking for. Question 4. This was really badly done, and I suspect that's because I didn't really have a quiz. So I suspect a lot of you didn't actually look at the videos for this, because man, you certainly lost it on this. So really, the tender document, what were the main sections? I was looking for the main section. So some people sort of said it what it had in it. So it tells us that how to what time we're supposed to turn the tender documents and all that sort of stuff. That's not part of the main section. That's part of the conditions of tendering. So the conditions, that would get you a mark, but if you really wanted to do it easy, you should have said general conditions. That would get you some marks. Special conditions would get you some more marks. Conditions of tendering would get you some more, because that could be interpreted as a main condition, a main section. Once again, I was looking for the conditions of contract, the schedule of quantities, the specifications, the drawings and appendices, and a proper description of what they were, and a little bit more than list of stuff to do or something like that. I was looking for a little bit better description, because you were getting a mark for it. So you got a mark for getting these words right, and you got a mark for describing them in a little bit more detail. 4B was what are the different types. Once again, this was a bit of a give me, and I was really surprised that a lot of people didn't do this very well. It was basically just regurgitating what you did in class. Most people lost marks in the descriptions. Most people could tell me these three things: lowest price conforming, weighted attribute, but you didn't describe it very well. Like the weighted attribute in particular, a lot of people didn't really describe there's 3 or 4 steps happening in there. It didn't take too long to describe it, but a lot of people didn't describe it very well and dropped a couple of marks like that. Lowest price conforming is that only got 1 mark, because the one that was really going to get you full marks was lowest price, because you've already selected the tenders in the selected process. So why would you want to redo the attributes all over again? So that was what we were looking at here, but as you can see, I gave you some marks for that. D, during the tender process, so I was looking for, notice the tenderers. NTT would get you half a mark. Notice the tenderers would get you 1 mark. Setting further information, setting out the information. What does the NTT, what does notice the tenderers do? And what do you do with the notice of tenderers? You send it out to all tenderers. 1E was this one here. Yes, a contract has been formed. Most people got that it was a contract formed because the acceptance letter had been received. There had been an offer and an acceptance. What would get you that extra mark was unconditional acceptance. This says unconditional acceptance, so that's what makes it. So that would have got you that last little bit. Remember, the first half of the marks is really easy to get. The next quarter is a bit harder, and the last bit you really have to show me some really good thinking. Number 5 was all about difference between DBB and design and build. Difference, okay, not describe the design and build, not describe the DBB. What is the difference between them? And a lot of people didn't really get that, and so didn't score as well as they could have. So I was looking for 3 differences. So it was things along the lines of client has separate contracts with a consultant in the DBB, whereas there's only 1 contract. Involves the client a lot in the DBB, but it doesn't. The client's sort of out on the out with the design and build. It's a bit quicker for a design and build than it is for a DBB, and I was looking for a reasonable example as well. And the last one, number 6 there, was how does a public-private partnership model work? And I was looking for the description there. The public sector requires facilities. The private company funds and designs and builds and operates the facility. The private company is paid from revenue from the new facility, and their ownership is handed back to the public sector after a set time period. So I was looking for three of those points basically, so you got sort of 2 marks for each one of them, and so you can see that the student dropped it. So that is my comments on this test. I'm not going to argue about the marks, but if I've added up the arithmetic wrong, then I'm happy to sort of correct that. But as I said, the way I did it is I marked each question together, so everyone got marked the same. And as I said, the marking is not is an art more than a science, so just keep that in mind.